Hi, folks. Peter Lemieux speaking to you for the insurance exam queen, Melissa Dillon. I just taught a class yesterday, and some of the people had trouble with this provision in health insurance we call time limit on certain defenses. What the heck does that mean? When we read our book, we're told it has to do with contestability. Well, that's great if you understand what contestability means, but I'm going to make this video for those people that just doesn't make sense, okay? I'm going to use this example. Sometimes we get words in our brain that no matter how they get explained to us, don't make sense. For me, it's the word carburetor. I'm not a mechanical guy. I don't understand how cars work. You can tell me about the carburetor and I'll nod my head and say, got it. And tomorrow I will not be able to tell you what that is, okay? That's just our way our brains work. Well, if that is the way it is with you with contestability, I'm going to try a different way so that you can at least retain it for 2 hours when you take the test. Imagine that you're playing a game of Scrabble and somebody puts down XQLTZ as a word. You're saying, that's not a word. And they're already recording the points, okay? And you're saying, stop. That's not a word. I'm going to challenge you, or I'm going to contest you. I don't believe that's a word. So when we go to insurance, what we're saying is somebody puts a claim in, and the insurance company says, that's not a valid claim. I'm going to contest you. I don't believe we have to pay that claim. So it's like playing Scrabble, and the insurance company says, we don't have to pay that. Now, why would an insurance company do that? Because the information on the application wasn't true. Oh, lie on the application, they don't have to pay the claim. So when we get to a time limit on certain defenses, that's the umbrella we're under. And there's two elements to this. The first 2 years, and then after a policy is 2 years old. In the first 2 years, if somebody submits a claim and there is inaccurate information on the application, the insurance company doesn't have to pay it. They can contest that claim. Why? Inaccurate information. Well, that's kind of loose. I could innocently put on the application something that isn't true because it's just a representation. But it gives the insurance company some way to not pay claims. But that stops after 2 years. The provision says after 2 years, you can't mess around with people, pay the doggone claim. And there's only 2 ways to get out of it after 2 years. Number one, if they haven't paid their premium and the grace period's gone by, you obviously don't have to pay that claim. But number 2 is if there's fraud. Now, fraud is way different than an inaccurate statement. Fraud can be difficult for an insurance company to prove. And please remember this, to rise to the level of fraud, 2 words must exist. Write them down. Intentional and material. Intentional means what I put in the application, I intentionally tried to deceive the insurance company. That can be hard to prove. The second one has to be material. And material means if the insurance company knows that, they would never have approved the policy in the first place. And the example we all like to use is cancer. You get told that you have cancer. So you run out to buy a life insurance policy and you lie. It's intentional. I'm trying to deceive you, and doggone it, that cancer, they would have declined me. That's an act of fraud. And what this clause says, after 2 years, the only 2 ways an insurance company can get out of paying the claim is if you've lapsed the policy or they find fraud on the application. So an example of fraud is, like I said, you knew it. We've got a doctor's report that says you were told you had cancer. Then after that, you filled out this application and told us a lie. Intentional and material, that's fraud, right? So what we're telling you in the time limit of certain defenses, when can an insurance company contest a claim? Like, that's not a word, right? In the first 2 years, it's more liberal for the insurance company. Inaccurate statements on the application, they can contest the claim. But after 2 years, it gets more serious. It has to be fraud. The other way of saying this, please remember, fraud is always contestable in health insurance. So if I commit fraud and I lie to you about my back, which needs surgery, and I say I'm fine, but I don't need surgery for 7 years, they don't have to pay that. Fraud is always contestable. In the first 2 years, it's only inaccurate statements. After that, it's fraud. And we call that time limit on certain defenses incontestability clause. When can the insurance company contest a claim, and when do they just have to pay it? Hopefully this little bit of an explanation is helpful to you, and you'll be able to understand that and get it clear on the test. Thanks. For more information and more details on how to pass the test and everything, please go to the insurance exam queen, Melissa Dillon. She's got tons of help for you. Thank you very much. Have a great day.